Hi, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Rachel from Discworld Monthly, and we're here with Daniel Knight from Snowgum Films to talk about Troll Bridge. So hi Dan, what is happening with Troll Bridge? When are we going to get to see it?
Cool. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to get to see it this year. The question is when, and what we're relying at the moment on is a film festival to pick it up. It's been pretty interesting the last 6 months of the film, actually. I use the word interesting in kind of the same tone as May You Live in Interesting Times. It's Aaron calls it the long tail, and I often think that if there was a book, that would make a great chapter title for this portion of the film. Basically, what is happening is it's submitting to festivals and continuing to tinker away with it. We've still got comps that we're dialing in on, predominantly with the beard. The beard has been a big issue, but that hasn't stopped us from submitting to stuff. Late last year, we submitted to our first film festival. We were knocked back from that. So since that point, we've continued tightening the bolts and just trying to improve it as much as possible. We're in the middle of our final sound mix. And just to kind of give you a rough idea of kind of the stuff that we're doing, or have been doing, at least in the last 6 months, because I think it's almost been about 6 months since our last update, which was the closure of the matte work. Sound design is obviously a huge part of the film, and we've just finished our second round of ADR on that, so our ADR is complete. ADR, for those sitting at home, is additional dialogue recording. It's basically where we get dialogue that we didn't capture very well on the day and re-record it. Now, we've recast Troy Larkin, but let me go in and say that it was Troy's idea as well as my own. When we was going through the festival rounds, not festivals, the cons, and we were showing bits and pieces at the conventions, one of the bits of feedback that we were getting is that we could possibly do much better by Beryl. Beryl, when Terry wrote it, was a parody of Terry Jones from Monty Python, and that's very clear when you're reading the dialogue. I know you and I have even discussed this around a few beers at the convention as well. And one of the things that we were been discussing regarding that character is, like, we were looking at the end of the film and we'd realised that there was not a single female presentation in it by a female. So we had one female character being played by a male, absurdly in a Terry Jones style, which was how it was written. But time has moved on, and we didn't think that was kind of appropriate, and we certainly didn't want any sort of conversation about the film to be about the casting of that. So Troy Larkin and I were having huge discussions about it over several years, I have to say. Like, we were going back and forth on this so many times about what to do. And the good news is we found another actor to step in, and she is incredible. So we've re-recorded Beryl. The actor that we got to step in for that's name is Tilly Legge. She's a local, and she's a fantastic voiceover artist. At least at this time it's from a female perspective, rather than just being a willy fest, which Troll Bridge was quickly turning into. So that's kind of the last bit that we're at. We're still doing sound design. That gets wrapped up next week, or next week and a half. Then we go into the 5.1 mix in a cinema, start dialing that in, and just hoping like hell a festival picks us up, because if a festival doesn't pick us up, we're just going to continue tinkering on it until they do. So that's kind of where we're at. It's a bit of a ramble, a lot of information in it. I don't know if any of it was very clear. But there's been a lot of other things going on as well, and it's not even Troll Bridge that's kind of been going on. Let me talk a little bit. So sorry, I'm just babbling away here. Do you have any questions before I'll just continue?
You're giving us the stuff we need. The important bit was, the question I keep getting asked is, when are we getting Troll Bridge?
Right.
The question everybody asks me. Yeah. When are we getting Troll Bridge? We've heard nothing. What's happening? And that's all we keep getting asked.
Yeah.
So, you know, anything that you can give people, you're here, you're on the screen, you're
Sure.
talking to us, which says it's still happening. So,
Yeah.
you know, and it's still going to come, and that's the important bit.
Right, right. Well, to kind of give you like, I mean, you're not seeing anything on social media at the moment for one very important reason, and that's due entirely to exhaustion, complete and utter. Like, I don't want to be light on that. We're wrecked. We had some funding from two individuals a year ago, maybe a bit more than a year ago now. Yeah, a year and a half ago. That enabled me, the producer, and the visual effects supervisor to work on Trollbridge full time, and that's what we did. So we all quit our day jobs and we moved straight into Trollbridge, and we worked on that for me, it was maybe a year and a couple of months. For Aaron, it's been the entire time, so I think that's close to a year and 6 months now, outside of work. For both of us, it's been extremely difficult finding work again. With my industry collapsed before I left. I used to work in cinema, and there was a huge digitization process. So if you go to the movies nowadays, you're watching a digital file. When I was a Korea projectionist, we were working with 35mm film. We had to thread projectors, but we automated the entire thing, as many industries are being automated. So I've had to find work in parallel industries just to make ends meet, as Michael would say. Aaron has also had a tough time finding work. So we've been kind of concentrating on that over the last, I'd say since just before Christmas, trying to make sure that we don't get kicked out of our homes, while Trollbridge has been tinkering along on the side, because we got it to a point where we thought we could start actively calling it finished. It's not finished. Like I said before, it's not going to be finished until it's actually on a screen, and we're not going to stop tinkering with it until it's on a screen. But that's very, and like, trust me, if it's frustrating for you guys that it hasn't hit a screen yet, it's really frustrating for me. We're almost at 15 years now. Yeah. That's a nice round decade and a half, which is really nice as a number, and we can use that in advertising, but for Christ's sake, it just makes me want to do my head in sometimes. But you know you sit back and you remember that you're playing in Terry Pratchett's world, and you find motivation and heart to continue on, and just trying to cram as much of it in around the edges as possible. And it's very difficult. Like, I'm having to work. I'm like my personal. Sorry, I keep talking about my personal life, but it's actually impacting on Trollbridge. I've got 3 casual jobs because I've been unable to get like a full-time work. Like, there's just no full-time work out there, and I haven't been able to prove myself as a filmmaker because this film isn't released, so I can't even pick up filmmaking work. So trying to juggle those 3 casual jobs as well as Trollbridge, which is the 4th casual job, makes it impossible for me to keep up to date on social media, which is why no one has heard anything, and I'm so embarrassed by that. But there's also been nothing for us to go, yay! Look what we just finished that time. You know, we were very proactive about, like, we've finished animation, we've finished tracking, we've finished this, we've finished that. The sword is looking amazing, blah blah blah. But the compositing, which is the act of stitching it all together, has turned into be the most difficult department to wrangle. And, you know, you got to look at yourself as well. Sometimes you just wonder, am I being too picky? Like, are we overanalyzing this? How much can you continue dialing into the one image, trying to stitch it together, making sure that it's looking flawless? But you keep finding flaws, and you drilling it into it, and the volunteer crew are amazing.
So can we ask what film festivals you're looking at?
No.
No.
You can be like, you can figure it out though. Like, it's
we can figure it out.
Hey,
I'll get the map out and have a look after.
Yeah, right. There's, like, if I said to you there's only really 2 film festivals that are appropriate for the remainder of this year for us to enter, then it's very easy to kind of figure out what those 2 film festivals are. But I don't want to say what film festivals they are, because I don't want to jinx the process.
Yeah, because we've seen so many different, shall we say, stages of Trollbridge
Yeah.
that have appeared at conventions and stuff. It looks amazing. Please hold on to that. That we all think it looks absolutely amazing from the last time we saw it. So when it finally comes to us all finished, we're going to be all screaming and jumping for joy and raging about it forever. And it'll be one of those things that'll probably pop up at conventions on a regular basis on a big screen because everybody will love seeing it. Please hold on to that. I know personally, doing anything voluntary for a very long time, we've been doing this 21 years as Discworld Monthly, is hard slog. And there are times where you just want to walk away and go, I've had enough. We know that better than anyone.
No, of course. And we're not walking away. Like, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, maybe about 5 years ago it kicked in that the idea of walking away would do yourself more damage than actual good. At some point, you've got to see something through, right? So there was never any risk of us walking away, but your priorities shift on what's important in the film, and what's important about keeping mentally healthy as well. Like, everyone asks when's Trollbridge going to be done, but it's funny that when someone talks to me, they very rarely ask, "Are you all right?" Because it has been 15 years, and it really does.
No, it's a scary question to ask. We know that one. That's why I said about walking away, because we ourselves have actually seriously thought of shutting Discworld Monthly down more than once because of
Don't do that.
No, I know, but there has been times that we've actually seriously considered it ourselves. So because it's impacted on us so much. The social media thing, believe me, don't talk to us about social media. It's a horrific situation sometimes. It's a wonderful thing, but it's also one of the most evil things on the planet, social media. So we know. Yeah, we know. And it is the thing that's often made us go, oh, hard enough, we want to walk away. So we understand the mental health things with doing it all the time. It's like, oh,
so
please.
Please, do you have any secrets you can share with me? How do you find the energy to revitalise yourself every night? Because you can't just continue. I mean, it's great. It's almost like a team with you and Jason now. So I guess you get to share those duties up. So it's not just
no. It's all me. It's still all me, 100% all the way. He does all the tech stuff because we've changed the newsletter now as well. The way the newsletter is produced. Jason. He does the editorial. He'll come in and do the coding that makes it easier for me, so I don't actually have to write the stage production stuff anymore. It just whips it off the website from when I've updated it. But the social media side, some weeks there'll be absolutely nothing from Discworld Monthly for 2 or 3 weeks because I've had enough and I've walked away.
It's burnout.
It's burnout. And then I come back because there's too much stuff in a pile going, I need to be put out there, and then I'll just go, okay, and I'll go and do it. I'm not necessarily happy about it all the time. I'm not, yay about social media, but it's got to be done. I do find social media manager programs really useful. Like I'm not going to name any because there's too many, but I post to that place and they share it out to 3 or 4 different places for me. I find that so, thank heavens for that. I'd go mental otherwise.
Yeah.
But there are times when there's nothing going on in the Discworld. So it's nice and easy then to have a lull and not do anything. But
you take those opportunities.
Yeah, to step away from it completely and meet people. This is the thing I found personally the best bit, is to actually meet up with Discworld fans who have now turned into our friends and our family, and that alone makes the massive difference. The people who pick up the phone and ring me to check I'm not cackling like an evil witch yet, that made the big difference for us.
May I ask, this will probably be a personal question, but do you find that you have much social life outside of the Discworld community now? Yeah, me neither. It's either all my friends are either involved with the film, or they've just drifted completely out of it, because all my contact with anyone is always the film, or my current jobs, which I've been picked up late last year. It's bizarre. One of my friends is desperate
the only friend, I'm going to say the only friend I have that isn't Discworld related, dragged me out for coffee this week. She's trying to drag me into the local community committee meetings to create a youth centre. And I'm like, no, I can't deal with anything more, please. But equally, she's the only person I can talk to about normal things. Because everybody else is like, everybody else is like, when we go to Wincanton, are we going to dress up as Queen whatever? I'm like, what? Please, please. Can we talk about how I need to do like 5 piles of washing? And I haven't got round to it because I'm too busy doing the auction catalogue and this and this and this and this.
Yeah, there's still life that you need to deal with. It's incredible. It doesn't go away ever.
No.
It's a shame.
What?
Roller coaster.
Oh, and there's roller coasters. There we go. That's our one non-Discworld thing. We bought ourselves annual passes to 4 of the big theme parks in the UK.
Oh, fantastic!
And we disappear for the weekend to theme parks and go on roller coasters. And even then, Discworld friends turn up and come with us. It's like, no, I can't deal. I love them to bits, but. Yeah. There are moments I'd quite happily go off on a weekend on our own. And it doesn't ever work because what happens is we end up in an area where there's somebody lives there. So then I feel guilty if we don't turn up on their doorstep for lunch on the way home. Yeah. So we end, and it just, we work everything around seeing people and checking in on people. And it is a good thing.
It is.
It is a good thing. But it's all Discworld stuff.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's all Discworld stuff.
Yeah.
And it's got to the point, our diary, my boys are here this weekend, okay, because they live with their dad, and 2 of my boys live with their dad, and they're here this weekend, and poor buggers, they're upstairs going, I've got no Wi-Fi, I've got nothing, because they're on Skype downstairs.
Ha! Ha! For Discworld stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Discworld stuff. Yeah, again. And they live surrounded it. I'd love for you to come here one day, Dan, in the future at some point when we're all millionaires. I'll pay for you to come and stay with us for a bit because our house is nothing but Discworld.
Yeah, I'm admiring the background at the moment. There's so many details there I just want to pour into. It's great.
Yeah, there's Star Wars stuff. There is Star Wars stuff. There's quite a lot of Star Wars stuff up on the shelves there.
See, I do like Star Wars.
But the majority of the stuff in this room is Discworld.
Yeah.
Absolutely everywhere. Yeah. Our staircase is an art gallery to artists that no longer do stuff for the Discworld, like Jay Hurst and Stephen Player, and there's bits of Graham Higgins stuff around as well because he does our artwork for us. Yeah. And it's just everywhere. I can't get away from it. The bathroom's Batman, by the way, if anybody is listening and wondering, because I had to have one space that wasn't Discworld, that had nothing Discworld in it.
So it's the Dark Knight. No, I like
it. Yes, yeah.
So we have DC bathroom.
Yeah, we have a DC bathroom. Because even our bedroom's got Mort by Josh Kirby in it, the Discworld. Massive is above our bed.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere.
But it is surrounded by Superman posters.
Oh, yeah, Superman posters.
And Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. There's a whole Star Wars wall in our bedroom as well of artwork.
Obsessions are funny, aren't they, to be obsessed by things? They kind of give your life a little.
Yeah, and if you notice, all Discworld fans are obsessive. Yeah. And I think that's what makes us a fandom, and that's what makes us obsessed, turn up at the events and glue us all together. The fact we're all obsessive about things. We wouldn't continue doing the disc. I still think to this day Jason's mental because he says to me, he never expected Discworld Monthly to get past issue 3, and yet somehow here we are at, what was it, 253?
253, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Incredible. How many years?
That's 21 years.
21 years.
You're beating me by 6. That's that is impressive.
Yeah, but we have managed to put some stuff out in those years.
Oh yeah! Did you just hear that? Yeah.
We've had content out.
Deservedly so, I think. Yeah.
It's not been a finalised film, but there's been content.
Yes, there's been loads of content and lots of friendship. Yeah. Everybody, they talk about Troll Bridge and their faces light up, and it's another one of those things that cement everybody. So you've got to be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah. There's your target, is to get it released before Good Omens.
Yeah, before Good Omens. Are we going to do this before Good Omens?
That's early
That's
2019, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to Good Omens, by the way?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been following the social media on that. You would not believe how closely I've been following it. No, I'm very excited. The cast is incredible. There's a lot of my favourite British actors in that show. I just can't wait. I think it's going to lead to bigger things for those guys. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. So with Shotgun, I found this page called the versions page, which collates all the different uploads that people have done on the film. And there was a number down the bottom which told me how many versions had been uploaded. And these are all video files that have been assessed, managed, being created by an artist who has spent countless hours on the work that they're submitting. And there are 8,833 versions at this point. So that's 8,833 video files that have been generated to try and figure out what the remaining 235, I think it is. There's 235 shots in the film. I think it's around that, 235. So what's that equal? I'm not good at maths.
It's 40 each, isn't it? Or something, yeah. 40.
Well, you can either speak up. Or
it's about 40 updates per shot.
40 updates per. That's.
No, 400.
400.
Yeah, sorry.
Hang on, let's do the math. Let's do the math. This is fun.
Don't do maths. Maths is scary.
It sounds like Sheldon. Maths is fun.
Maths live here. All right, I've got a calculator up on the old computer here. If we take 8,800 and what was it? 8,833 divided by how many shots are there? There are actually 267 shots. 267 shots. Okay, so on average, each shot had 33 different versions. You know, and that'll include stuff like tracking, match moving, very similar. Rotoscoping, so removing the green screen. Animation, lots of animation, whether it's a sword, a character, snow, when the character is moving through it, clouds, the clouds need to move, they can't just be static, bringing the map to life, so you got light undulating off and on the cliffs and the bridge and everything that goes into it. It just ended up being a huge amount of work that I don't think any of us, we're all naive, we don't know what we're doing. The fact that you guys trusted us is insane.
But that's because we don't know what we're doing either, so we believed that you could do it.
That's good. I apologise that you've got a blind man leading you through this, but on the bright side, I've learned a hell of a lot. This, like Trollbridge, has been my film school. I am astounded by how much I've learnt. Particularly over the past 2 years, it's been a real pressure cooker. Just the amount of detail that you can drill into and the amount of different ways you can approach with pulling out detail, or it was just a big learning curve. 15 years learning curve. It's very curvy as far as learning curves go. But hey, we learned how to make Trollbridge out of it, and that's an incredible thing to it. So look, what do you have to look forward to? Because we haven't done an update in so long, our next update, and we've been very keen on this being our next update, will be the trailer. We really need to get a trailer out, and you can assume when the trailer hits that we are going full slog with everything. Now, there's a couple of important dates around this time of year. It's really interesting this time of year. You guys will know this as well, the amount of important dates that occur. You were talking about there's natural lulls in the Discworld year, but it's not this time of year. This is quite a busy time for Discworld. One of those dates we'll see the trailer, and then the social media will kick off, and it'll be full time again, getting the film publicised, which is going to be very important for the festival circuits to want to pick it up and screen it for everybody. And then after the festival circuit, then we get to DVD duplications and all the nightmares that will entail, which will be a whole new learning curve again, and a lot of excitement making merch for our backers.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Jay's just gone. Yes, making merch. We know all about that as well.
Yeah. So fulfilling our pledge material and getting that out, DVD duplication, poster duplications, etc., figuring out how to post it all and whatnot. We've still got that portion ahead of us, but at the moment, I think we're all just looking forward to getting the film in front of an audience, like a completed film, in front of an audience.
So, question for you, if I can. How is it okay for people to still keep backing you at the moment? You know, when does that stop?
It'll stop when we can't spend money on the film anymore. The beautiful thing is we're so in debt right now that's probably still a while away. So there's probably still some time to donate money to the
I'll
project.
keep pushing it then. I'll keep pushing it then, Dan.
Oh, thank you. Our contract states that once we're not in a position to spend money anymore, then we're going to cut it off, and we will. Either that or the money will go to Alzheimer's research or something like that. I don't know yet. We need to discuss that with the estate, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Way back when we put $30 Australian into your account back in 15 years ago, when you before Kickstarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kickstarter did not exist then. No.
You've actually invented crowdfunding, did you?
I would very much like to take credit for that, but I did steal the idea from other people, unfortunately. There were two other
That's how all great ideas happened.
That's
other people.
This is true. So there were two other crowdfunding campaigns that I know existed before us. One of them was for a skit series called The Gamers, which was about a group of Dungeons and Dragons game. It's really interesting, actually, because there's a wizard in it which is almost identical to Rincewind, except his robes are yellow. In all other aspects, he is Rincewind. He's cowardly, he's running from everything, he's hilarious, he's great. And that was my first donation to a film. And that was before Trollbridge existed. And then there was also a crowdfunding campaign for a Star Wars fan film as well, which was occurring in Melbourne. So I knew it was possible. It didn't have a term. It wasn't called crowdfunding then. But yeah, I'd like to take credit for inventing Kickstarter, and I will, but it's untrue.
Are you? Have you been approached to do any talks or anything at the con?
Yeah, the committee are work, and I'm always terrible at replying to emails because once again, it's not that it's a low priority. It's just that all the other priorities are so urgent that my emails just I don't get to reply to my emails anywhere near as much as I would like to. So yes, we're working through with the committee at the moment. They've suggested some ideas. I've suggested some ideas. I will definitely be there. It's very important for me to be at these conventions to show that we're not hiding. A lot of Kickstarter campaigns and a lot of crowdsourced films collapse. I know you are aware of this. I know a lot of our backers are aware of this. And there's obviously some understandable angst regarding crowdfunding simply because there have been so many campaigns there where the money's just disappeared and they haven't been able to move forward. So the cons are very important to me for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I get to be a physical presentation. I'm here. If you've got any problems, I'm not running. I'm right here. I promise you, we're still making the film. I'm telling you to your face, we are definitely still making the film. And the other thing it does is it refuels me every single convention, and I'm very lucky in that I get one a year. I get one at the UK now, and for the last 6 cycles, so 12 years, I suppose. There's always been one in Australia as well, because they're the off season. So I always get a convention every year, which revitalizes me and helps me remember why I started doing this in the first place. And of course, you always remember Terry, and then you just want the work to be as best as it possibly can be.
Cool. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier about seeing people makes a massive difference. Seeing Discworld fans and
the physicality of it, and see, it's like even my film crew. I don't even have the luxury of being able to hug them, or shake their hand, or look them in the eye. Like some of our crew will get on board on Skype, and we get to have Skype conversations, but they're still in other parts of the world. My visual effects supervisor I only get to see every couple of years now, because he's based in LA. You miss human contact, and that this last year and a half without human contact has been, and then being thrown back into the human world where you got to work. You've got to work for somebody else doing whatever they want you to do, rather than being able to commit yourself completely to the art, is kind of shocking. And I got to admit, I went through culture shock over the last 3 months, trying to re-collaborate myself back into a working environment with people on a face-to-face level, rather than being everything communicated via shotgun or email or very occasionally via Skype video. It's lonely. And it shouldn't be lonely for a crew this size. Like, our crew is huge. But everybody's suffering this. It's not just me. It's every single volunteer we've got. Very few of us get to actually see each other face to face, and that's another reason to look forward to the festival circuit. Is I'm actually going to meet a lot of our artists for the very first time. And the other thing we need to crowdsource as well is subtitling and. Of course, yeah. I'm debating on this one whether to open it up to dubs. So if a theatre group from another country wanted to do a local dialect dub of the film, then they could record it and whatnot on their end and get the time codes correct, and then we could possibly offer dubs on the DVD as well. Like, I still want to open...
Daniel, can you don't be stupid.
Don't be daft. Just go subtitles, because subtitles are nice and easy.
Complexity.
Yeah, why don't you shoot yourself in the foot again?
I was going to say, why wring your neck? It's much easier.
I like including people. I like getting people involved.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for your time.
No.
We, of course, can't wait for Trollbridge. We will look out for the updates, and we can't wait to see you at the UK convention.
Thank you very much for having me.